To the back end of my dashboard.
Hello, Culture Matters podcast. We are back again with another amazing episode. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest. Before I do that, here is a quote just for this episode. I think when you're disciplined, fear dissipates. Charlie Cina, our guest today, a great friend of the Culture Matters podcast. He has been on the show before. I challenge you to listen to episode 176, season 15. After this episode, for decades now, he's been exposing and closing, not exposing how you're thinking right now, exposing his value and closing people on the value that they need to be better experts, better subject matter experts, better business people, better leaders. He's a speaker, author, friend of the Culture Matters podcast. Uh, a good, just an overall good man that works his butt off, that created also OneTapConnect, which is something that's going to connect you to more dollars, more relationships, faster. And thank you so much for coming back to the show, brother. I was re-listening to our first episode today. That's where I got that quote. You said, when you're disciplined, fear dissipates. And I love that so much because I got to be more disciplined. Thanks for coming back to the Culture Matters podcast.
Well, I appreciate you, man. And yeah, discipline is really the older you get, the more you understand what the word discipline means. And yeah, when you're disciplined, I do believe the fear dissip dissipates. And when you're worried about something, I found the quicker that you take action on it, that fear tends to go away. So yeah, discipline is key, and it's tough. I can tell you that. It's definitely a commitment, but yeah, it's the older I get, the more disciplined I think I become, and the better I live my life.
Mhm. Yeah, how do you push through on those days that are hardest? Like, for example, just yesterday, maybe it might have been the day before yesterday because I was feeling a bit under the weather and I just hit fatigue. I don't know, I hit a wall and it just clobbered me. And I was talking to somebody on the podcast and it was around fatigue, like entrepreneurial fatigue. And then I thought, is that a thing, or is that just a thing that I'm gonna use as an excuse to just, you know, give up? I was going back and forth in my head, but with your experience in business and sales, is what are your thoughts on that? Is that do you have to press the
Want me to go
reset button?
back? Do you want me to go back to 3:59 a.m. this morning when those thoughts hit my head, or do you want me to BS your audience?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't think. Listen, the biggest fight that I have is the fight that goes on between my two ears, right? Or in the middle of my brain, right? Should I, shouldn't I? Am I doing the right thing? Do I really want to get up and do this again? Et cetera, et cetera. So at the end of the day, it's whatever you may call it, the negative self-talk. Some people might call it the devil. Like I don't know, like whatever it is that you call it. For me, it's it's constant, and the difference is as I get older, you learn how to control it and realize that it's BS, right? you
Mm,
have to you have to look forward, and our job is to create, right? That's why you look at certain successful people, many of which that are beyond successful, right? They don't need the work, they don't need the money, they don't need the accolades, they don't need the celebrity component of life. Like they don't need the attention, right? They have it all, but they keep going. Why? Because what are you going to do other than create? That's why we were put on the earth, right? We beat the odds. We were born into this world, into this life. And the older, again, that I get, and I use that, keep saying it, because life goes by in a blink, and then when you look back, you say, if I woulda, coulda, shoulda, but the whole objective, in my opinion, is to look forward. So to answer your question, what I do when I think those negative thoughts is I usually say to myself, get up, do it anyway. I've been fortunate. My businesses have been doing well, but there's days, I want to put the key in the door and break it, right? And say, I'm not coming back. So everyone's human. Everyone has those thoughts. The reality is, though, a lot of people don't admit that, right? So
Mm.
when you can't admit it to yourself, that's step number one, and then step number two, how do you overcome it? But I can tell you that for me and a lot of people that I know in business or in sales, the three major things that can paralyze people, and it's out there, is fear, anxiety, and stress. And it's real, and it affects you mentally, physically, and emotionally. And now when I wake up in the morning, I do everything in my power to you know connect spiritually and learn how to control um, that voice in my head, that consciousness, where it puts me in a position to where I know where I'm going and how I want to get there.
You've built some pretty long-term strategic partnerships over the years. What would you say are some of the variables to maintaining long-term relationships with your customers?
Well, a lot of people don't agree when I say this, but I evolved from wanting to be in the hospitality business. So when I went to school, I went to a junior college back in Buffalo, New York, community college. I ended up getting some scholarships to continue hotel restaurant management, and that's how I ended up in Vegas. So for me, hospitality, right? The art of being nice, being social, asking people their name, making them feel significant, has something that I've always lived my life by, right? You see somebody, hi, what's your name? What do you do? You come into my office or my house, I'm going to offer you, a drink, something to eat, what have you. And I just always took that approach in business. So I like to make my clients my friends, because I believe when you can, acquire a client and build the relationship with that client, right? You're not closing a deal, you're closing on a relationship. What are you selling? You're selling certainty. What's certainty? Certainty is trust. You can't have trust with a material object. I mean, I guess you can, right? If you're jumping out of an airplane, right? You can trust if you pull the parachute that it's going to open up, right? But somebody had to pack that parachute. So are you really having the trust with the parachute itself or the person that manufactured and put the parachute together? So that's been my very simple mantra. I want to make my clients my friends, because if you do screw up or if you do fall short, I believe that, a friend will give you the benefit of the doubt to make it right.
Mm. Wow. And I was thinking about the word connect and connection or connect, connection, connector the other day on an episode. What is connection? What is connection to you? And then I'd love to if you could elaborate,
Well, if
you know.
you would have asked me that on the last podcast, I would have given you a very different answer.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would have said, like-minded people with like-minded intention that maybe have the same goals, aspirations, or dreams, or you have a problem, I have a solution, and there's a connection there, right? But I think the art of connection, what I've now learned on a deeper level, starts with intention, right? What's your intention, right? When you wake up in the morning, what's your intention as far as how to live your life? What's your intention for your business? What's the intention, to support your employees and your team and everything in between? And then when you really break it down, what does it boil down to? Well, intention comes from a thought, and then there's energy that goes around that thought. So for me, um, spiritually, I started connecting at a higher level, which I had never done before at that level. I mean, I've always, been brought up, uh, Christian background, grew up as a Catholic, but never really connected at a high level spiritually. So when you can spend time with yourself and be disciplined to really, you know, look at where you're at and appreciate the things that you've done. I've been blessed to, be married almost 30 years. Scratch that. Together 30, living together for 30. So as far as I'm
Wow.
concerned, right, we've been living, sleeping side by side for 30 years, married 25, two kids. My son's 23, my daughter's 20. In fact, she's on her way back tonight for college break. She's going to be 21 here. But when I look at, all of that, right, to me, all of that molds and shapes, who you are. And all that forms the connections and the bond that you're going to have when you meet people, because people feel that energy. And
Wow.
for lack of a term, to me, that's really a person's resume.
What's a person's resume?
I'm saying a person's resume, right? It's not just business, right? Like, you've been with Jenna now for how long?
7 years.
7 years. That's no easy feat, right? Right. And why do I say that? Because all the things that are on the outside world, all the pressures, all the fear, all the anxiety, the financial pressure, starting your business, right? So that's why, to me, the most important thing, and I literally said this to my wife yesterday, like, through everything, she's the best decision that I ever made. Right. And I don't know what the name of the song is. I can't remember, but there was a song that I heard that said, you can tell a measure of a man by his
Hmm.
woman.
Wow.
So at any rate, I don't
Love
know
it.
if we've digressed or I've answered your question. I think it was about connection, right? And everything is connected. Everything comes from, in my opinion, everything comes from intention. And now, as I progress in life, everything is energy. And if we now have AI, and AI could read your intentions, more than ever, I think, you know, people are a lot more astute and can feel energies and intentions more than ever. And I just try to come from a place of good intention.
When I was re-listening to the last episode, shout out to episode 176. Hi, I'm Charlie. What's your name?
Mhm.
That's the beginning of you're proactive and you're connecting.
Right. Because people don't do the basics. And in today's day and age, I believe that, social media, AI, computer, software, technology is awesome, right? I mean, these things are awesome. However, they also have created an era of individuals that are social misfits.
Mm.
And I don't use that word as an insult, right? To say, Jay, you know what, you're a misfit, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a misfit, right? You can't put the round peg in the round hole anymore because someone knows how to, text or communicate via social media, but when you meet them in person, they completely shut down. Why? Well, maybe they can't handle
Hmm.
that or that energy of the person that they're talking to because they've been so introverted and now they shut down, and that's a problem. So, with that, I think that that's where hi, what's your name becomes so powerful more than ever because you're sticking out your hand, right? You're shaking somebody's hand. You're transferring your energy, the art of touch, the art of human connection. And now, as soon as they say, my name is, right, you're not strangers anymore because now you're Jay, I'm Charlie. What do you do? Are you married? What do you like? Whatever. And now a conversation starts. And as you and I both know from being in business, conversations convert. We're only here right now for the second time, right? Because we met at the Lightspeed office. I think I even remember you were sitting in Brad's office. I walked in to whatever, say good morning or ask Brad a question. You're like, hey man, all right. Or I said it to you, and here we are. We built a friendship.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not complicated, but doing it's complex.
So someone's going to take that first jump. Why not me? That first leap. Why
Right.
not me? And then now we have a potential for connection. And just going back earlier, I think you were onto something deep. The relationship that we have with our significant other, whoever that is, that has a relationship with how connected we are, our energy that people pick up on. Like the
Period.
relationships we have in our life have an influence of how connected we are. People pick up on that, or like
No
it's
question.
part of you're not separating these things. This is kind of your wisdom from earlier. It's like I'm right, like that's kind of what I'm picking up from what you said earlier. There's uh, how connected am I? So, but now I make that I make that somebody I start the connection. Hi, I'm Charlie. What's your name? Now we have a possibility of connecting based on the questions I ask and what I have to offer you. Like, because now
Well,
it's a
think about it.
conversation.
Everything that you have in your life is because of the interaction that you've had with another person. And I don't even know if I've ever said that before, but it's true. And here's the good news: like you're writing stuff down that I'm saying, and then we get on a podcast and you regurgitate it. You say it back to me, and I'm like, "Oh, who said that?" And you're like, "Dude, you said that." Right. So again, that's what I'm saying. Like we're all powerful in our own right. We all have creativity and levels of creativity within our being, right? I may not be good on the basketball court, but I know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And as you progress through life, one thing that I'm learning for myself is to focus on what you're good at, and that you're not good at, you certainly can give to someone else, or if you want, then take the leap and take the journey to stop worrying about it and see if you can do it yourself. Right. And if what's the most that could happen? You fail. And again, I'm sitting here telling you this, no different than starting OneTapConnect. I never intended to start another company. It just kind of happened. Now I can sit here and tell you all the trials and tribulations and things that we overcome that were absolutely ridiculous.
Hmm.
Daily things in business, and your listeners know what I'm talking about because everyone has those same, trials or tribulations or obstacles or conflicts, and you're like, where the heck did this come from? But you just continue to work through it, and it's painful. And I tell my kids the same thing. Like it doesn't matter what you do, pain's part of the equation.
Hmm.
And that it just is. Um, Certainly everyone knows that's where the growth comes from, but I mean, believe me, we're talking about this, but you know what I mean? 5 hours from now, you can call me and I could, mentally be going like, dude, why am I doing this? I could just let me just put the key in the door and break it and sit on the couch and cruise. But that's not what we're supposed to do.
I'm at one thing I believe I need to do is be a part of community. Uh so, let's look at this like a master class. Like I'm one tap away from changing the company's future for that one relationship or that third relationship. I'm gonna put myself I'm speaking literally, like I'm gonna join a community that where I could just be, a low person on the totem pole. I've been advised to be more social, put myself out there. I've been very very siloed over the last 5 years, trying to figure out how to balance fulfillment and my own identity and marketing myself. So I think I need to get out there. I need to be a part of a community where I'm like the low man on the totem pole. I need to connect with people. Um, so technology might help me because I'm the awkward person. I might not. It's almost like I forgot how
Now,
to
why do
talk.
you say that? Because I've never had that impression of you.
I
My impression of you is you're a young, motivated, aggressive entrepreneur that has a high level of acumen about business and life.
Thanks.
Well, I'm just telling you the truth. Now, here's the problem. You may not see it. I've had people come up to me at events that I'm just attending. This is years back and going, are you speaking today? Is this your event? Are you the manager or the owner of the hotel? And I'm like, oh, why do you say that? I don't know. You just have that energy about you. And I'm like, because what's my brain saying? My brain, right? It's that negative, whatever you want to talk, not self-talk. And again, when I say negative self-talk, I'm just saying you may not think that, but people see that in you, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the difference. So that's where, the discipline comes in. That's where, in my opinion, you need to connect and spend time with yourself and how you present yourself at a high level is that should be not only your intention, but the thought process within you that you have that identity within you about yourself, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. And
yeah.
that's very, very difficult for a lot of people to overcome. And as I'm talking to you, by the way, I'm still talking to myself. Why? Because to your point, you're here. Where do you want to go? You want to go to here. So your self-talk is saying, well, can I get to here? Right? Well, he's up there or she's up. How do I get there? But at the end of the day, right? We're all made in the creator's image, right? The difference between a man and a woman is one chromosome. And I'm not a scientist. I'm just saying, right? We're all right there. So, the more you start to think about things, I think we add complexity to everything. Again, I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you and your audience, right? We add complexity, but I don't believe life was designed to be that complex. I believe that when God gave us free will, we started to convolute a lot of things. A lot of people don't have that connection within themselves, or they don't have the right connection with a significant other, or they don't have the discipline to do the right things to find a Jenna in your case, or to find a Tennille, or to find that right? That relationship where you are connected at a high level, right? You fall in love. What's love? Love's a feeling, love's an energy, right? Love's a commitment, right? With another person, whether it's your wife or you have a kid. It's a spiritual, emotional um, commitment. So for me, I'm starting to really drill down from again a spiritual aspect about what connection is, intention,
Mm.
commitment, discipline, right? Everything really goes together, and putting it in simplistic form, when you convolute the process, when you don't do the right thing, you start to drift. I read the book years ago, Outwitting the Devil, and they talk about drifting. Why do people drift? Well, what are they looking for? They're looking, right, to go to the top of the mountain financially, right? So they're chasing the dragon of money, right? Or then they get into chasing women, and now you're chasing the emotion and the feeling of sex. Well, what's sex? Sex releases dopamine in your brain, right? What's booze? Booze gets you high, right? Drunk or high or whatever it is. Now you start drinking or you're doing drugs. So everyone's looking for some type of euphoric connection or nirvana or whatever word you want to put to it. And as I'm taking my journey, what I'm learning is that that's your connection with God. And no matter what quote, you know, religion you practice, at the end of the day, there's only one Mother Earth, in my opinion, and there's only one God the Father, right? And that's why it's called Mother Earth. You've heard that, right? Mother Earth. Again, I don't know your religion and I don't care, but chances are there's a God the Father for you, right?
Mm.
So that's all I'm saying. Everything for me is now I enter into a different phase of my life, and I've been blessed enough to raise my kids, and we've been healthy, and you look at everything that's going on in the world. I just want peace here. I want peace within my household. I want that energy. And I think when you walk out the door and you bring that into your life and your business, and you start to touch and connect with other people, people recognize that elevates you, your brand, right? Your character, your intention, and then things just start falling into place for you easier. That doesn't mean you're not going to want to, you know, have the thoughts of jumping off a bridge some days, or quitting, but it just for me makes it a little bit easier.
Charlie, I always enjoy talking to you. I guess advice I'm looking for. We could use this as like a live training, right? For one tap, because I'm, if you don't mind pulling it up, uh for anyone listening to this on the Culture Matters podcast, go to YouTube and you can watch the video of our conversation here. So I'm about to put myself in an uncomfortable, or yeah, in an uncomfortable scenario. With you in the back of my head, though, now I'm catching myself. Maybe it isn't as uncomfortable as I was putting myself, or putting that thought in my head.
What's
Another way
not
to
as
look at it.
uncomfortable?
Yeah, I'm putting myself in around winners, and I want to connect to people, but I want to be value add. I don't want to just take. I want to give. Like, so for example, one thing I started doing in 2024 was connecting people in my life that I care about, that I thought should know each other. And it was like tapping into one of my, I called it like a love language. Like, you know, so it's like if One Tap Connect, for example, could that help me do that at a higher level? That's a question I have.
Well, yes, it could, but let me back up. And again, I did not know we were going to have this conversation. Honestly, this
Yeah, well, selfishly, I really want people to be able to
right, the like
be a little bit.
the subject matter of this conversation took a completely different direction than I thought it was going to take, right? I didn't really know what to expect, but I thought it was going to be more business. But as I sit here and now talk to you, I have a mentor, knock on wood. I just called him. I hadn't talked to him in over a year. And prior to that, I hadn't talked to him in like 20 years. But he made
Wow.
an impact on my life. The guy's name's Jerry Epstein. And when I wrote my book, there's a chapter in there where I briefly talk about him. But he told me, Cina, your business goals equal your personal goals, and your personal goals equal your business goals. And for me, growing up, my dad, my mom, especially my dad, right, father to son, always said, you shake a guy's hand, you make eye contact. Your word is your bond. It's your character. Again, that's your discipline, your intention, everything that we talked about. I I believe in today's day and age, when young guys like you are coming up, and everybody for that matter, I don't care what age you're at, 19, 29, 39, 40, 59, everybody's going to look at the guy that financially is at a higher level. But what I'm learning is just because people have high finances or cars or jewelry or watches or homes, that does not mean that they're necessarily individuals of high character,
Mm,
right? Morally, spiritually, family. It doesn't, I can tell you for a fact it doesn't mean that. And at the end of the day, when you hear uh, stories or books or things that were written from people like Steve Jobs when he passed, right? You read and then you really learn what they thought was important. So again, I say that to you because sometimes when people are climbing the ladder, you don't think you're worthy of. Make sense? Like you don't think, well, I'm here, or I'm only making this amount, or I'm only driving this type of car, or my business is only doing this amount of money. But so were theirs, right? Who's theirs? The other people that you may be looking up to that are causing you, not to their fault, by the way. It's not their fault. It's your fault. You just think that they're more worthy than you, or they're at a higher level than you. But maybe that's only financially. It's not internally from the spirit side of who you are and what your character and intention is. Does that make sense?
sure. Absolutely.
So I hope that helped. I think it helped me.
I think it's an extremely important piece of information and a reminder and qualifier for the Culture Matters podcast because I mean this show really is about um, betterment, like self-development, culture, right? Who wants to be a part of a tyranny? And I think what you just described, that like the backwardness of the people that say they can only learn from people beyond them, I think the undertone there is, oh, so you're not listening to your people. Like that's a takeaway. It's like
Right, and
everybody
we can go
has a
deeper, on that conversation. So don't misunderstand me. A guy that has, $100 million that has a successful business, I would venture to say, if you were to come to me and say, do you listen to Charlie Cina or do you listen to the guy that's got the $100 million business? Well, I don't have $100 million business yet.
I think it depends what we're talking about. If
But
it's
but you
talking about
understand
being
what what I'm saying is to me, you have to look at the overall, right? There's a lot of people that you look and you say they have everything, but I mean, look at a lot of artists that go sideways, or they take themselves out, right? You go, how the heck did that person commit suicide, or how did that person overdose? Like, dude, there's some connection there that they don't have because money was obviously not what they needed to continue to pursue this journey and gift that we call life. right? But meanwhile, guys like you and me, and probably the majority of people that are listening to this podcast that are entrepreneurs, sales professionals, or business owners, what are you going to get up? We get up, we're on the hunt. What do we got to do? We got to make that money. And believe me, I'm all about it. I'm just saying my perspective in doing
Mm,
so just a lot different. Like my partner was in here today. I wrote a couple additional Christmas bonuses to some of our people. And I looked at my partner and I said, I can't wait to the day when we're the worst person is making low six figures and a Christmas bonus, right? Would be a high four-figure check, let alone a high figure five-figure check. Like that's, and I'm saying that sincerely, like for me, that would be my idea and is my idea of success. It's
mm,
not at this point in my life, it's not, me pulling up in my Porsche
mm.
or my Rolls. Now, that's not to say that I don't want that. Do you understand?
Sure.
Like, or you don't want to, you want to fly private or whatever else. But what I'm saying is that at this point in my life isn't what's driving me. It used to, but it's not what drives me now. My mindset's just way different. Still want to get there. I just want to get there with a solid foundation and the best intention, and then educate and mentor and help the people that helped me. Because as we said, everything, everywhere you get in life is because you said hi to somebody,
Mm.
right? And they helped you get to where you are. There's no way you do it by yourself.
So yeah, in the spirit of that statement, I'm I'm it's the first event. I know no one. How can I equip myself to be in the strongest position? I don't necessarily want to sell. I don't want to sell anyone anything. I want to sell everyone though on me. I guess the one thing I want to sell people on is me, that I'm worthy, I'm valuable. I'm somebody that they should know. And
Yeah.
that,
So
where's the technological piece come in, and where's the also? We've
yeah.
talked, I
So
think,
for
a lot about
example, what you're looking
Eric.
at right now, right? What you're looking at
And but
right
wait, this is hyper relevant to me because I this year, 2025, I applied to this community and I'm going into a high ticket and I'm going to be social.
now.
It's not just work, meaning I'm not there because our company is being paid for me to be there, because that's always the context.
Mm-hmm.
And I was developing, I believe, a level of arrogance, Charlie, as well as social insecurity, because mostly the rooms I'm in, I'm working, meaning I'm there, but I'm not there because the line of work that I'm in, I
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of be behind the scenes. And that's like changed who I am in a way. So I just to set the frame, like I haven't been myself in a long, long, long time. So I feel like your technology it could be an additional confidence booster. It's not the end all be all because I got to show up. I got to be myself.
Sure.
I have to, connect with people. I have to have that connection at home. I have to be connected. I have to, uh, anyway. So, but if you can kind of coach me through this, maybe use me as a case study here.
So when I made this, I made it for myself, right? Because again, when I still represent Lightspeed's VTA, I have a large book of business. I'm inches away of potentially signing a six-figure client this month. It's in the insurance space. So I'm actively involved in that business. And in doing so and being active in, my prior life in the home improvement business, what was I selling? Home improvement people, construction people, what are they selling? They're selling transformation. But what do? We shake somebody's hand and somebody says, "Oh, you're really a nice guy," or "I'd like to stay in touch," or "I need your product," and you hand them a card. Well, this is a transfer of information. Okay, it doesn't show your transformation. It doesn't show the truth, authenticity, and proof of who you are and what you do. Now, they say when you go on YouTube, people will watch a video for like 7 or 8 seconds, and if you don't click, right? They're on to the next one. Now you're more of a social media person than I am. Is that true or false?
I believe that is true. It might be even less now.
Might be even less, right? So what did I want to do? I wanted to create something to where I could brand position and differentiate myself at the first point of contact, where I could have impact and influence on that particular individual, get their attention, and position myself as an expert in what I do. So now there's three ways to transfer your information using OneTapConnect. If I saw you at an event and you said, do you have a card? I take out the smart card. I tap your phone. Boom, up pops what you see here on the screen. Two, you can use the QR code. Everyone knows what QR codes are now. Take a picture of the QR code, up pops all of your information. Three, you can text this to people, airdrop it to people, etc. So as soon as this pops up, it also allows you to start making a presentation. Presentation. You're present with that other person. Now you go right into, this is my OneTapConnect microsite, or this is my Culture Matters microsite. This allows me to brand and position myself as the premier podcaster as it pertains to corporate culture, business, like whatever. There's your LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, a video on your company, all the clients that you represent, testimonials, right? Pictures of your different podcasts, products, services, clients, relationships, before and after shots of your jobs. And down here is a resource guide. So when I work with contractors or big manufacturers of products, everything's right here. Their digital catalogs, spec sheets on their product, white papers. So immediately, everything that you need to know about me, my company, my Google reviews, all of my truth, authenticity, and proof, you're just saying at hello, here, I'm an open book, but here's what I do. And I'm an expert at presenting what I do at hello. And that completely gets the attention and changes the psychology of the person on the other end that's receiving this, because now you're oscillating at a high frequency and they're going, wow, this guy, this gal really knows their stuff. Yeah, I'd like to learn more. Great. Hit the connect button, right? Or hit that form button, give me your info, and I'll call you next week and we'll book a call. And then that form button goes into my HubSpot. So if I work
Mm,
a conference, I have people hit that form button. Now, if you hit the connect button, and I'm showing you this on a laptop instead of a mobile, but when I hit that connect button, a preempted text pops up that says, hey, it's Jay, would love to connect. Hit send. When they hit that send, it sends you a text. And then you can procure their name, their cell, their company. You don't need anything else if you're prospecting somebody. And then the book me button allows you to book an appointment with that person on the spot. Why is that important? Because you just made a presentation and now you're present with that person in real time and they're in a high state of enthusiasm about your product or service, or simply you've connected on a personal level. They want to stay in touch. And now you're booking a Zoom meeting, you're booking an appointment at your office. And if you book the appointment at your office, you could just tell them to hit that map button. And now they've got directions to your office. So everything I did, Jay, was built around a sales process of introduction. Hi, my name is.
mm,
Build rapport, gain credibility. Identify a problem. I need a new roof. I need a new car. I need a psychiatrist. Whatever, right? Who's the solution? I
mm.
am, but talk is what?
Cheap.
Talk is cheap, but here's all the truth, authenticity, and proof that I can deliver for you. Great. Let's book an appointment. Let's start the conversation. Let's build a relationship. And now you're starting a conversation at the word hello that potentially converts long term. So that's how the tool is built.
And people like to be informed, like the consumer has control over the information gathering process. So you're getting it back a little bit on your own accord. Here's my credibility.
No question. And now when you meet them, they're adding you to the contacts. You're getting their information. And I don't know if you can see that, but then you're putting your
Yep.
microsite right on their phone like an app. And we call that presence by absence. So long after you met that person at that conference or while you were getting a cup of coffee, you're on their phone. We teach you how to put it right on their phone. So when they go home and talk to their wife, husband, significant other, business partner, they're going to go, hey, I just met this guy, Jay. They're going to click on your information. And then next thing you know, you're sharing that information with somebody else on your team, your wife, or what have you. Does that make sense?
What's been the feedback?
Well, I've got clients that, are closing $1 million deals. Like I've got a guy right here. His name's Brian Arnold. And Brian Arnold closed a
Hey guys, Brian Arnold here.
he closed a $950,000 deal because he went to a property management conference. He's tapping everybody's phone. He's putting his app on their phone. 2 months later, he gets a call from a property manager 1 state away from him. He says, how'd you hear about me? He said, we were at that event. You tapped my phone. Your app's been on my phone for 2 months. It just got hail damage. And then lo and behold, he ends up.
Alexa just got hit.
Listen to this.
Hail in Augusta, Georgia. You mind checking it out for me? So, lo and behold, went to Augusta, Georgia, had some hail. But I would have never that job would have never come to fruition. I would have never had any opportunity to do that. Honestly, if I would have used the OneTapConnect. So, I think that job was $950,000. But
so he got a $950,000 job because he said hello to somebody, right? Instead of handing a card, he had a brief conversation and they just didn't transfer information. They had a connection. He left his microsite on the phone like an app. Boom, he gets a call. And if you scroll through the rest of these testimonials, some of the other people will attest that they've had similar experiences or they booked an appointment or whatever the case is. So that was my whole goal. My whole goal was, how do you teach people to say hello? And how do you give them the confidence if they don't know what to say once they start that conversation? How do you give them a tool so they can show and tell? Now, again, I'm a lot older than you, but when you went to school, kindergarten, did you have to bring in something that you liked and tell the class about it?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if they still do that or not, but it was called show and tell.
Yeah.
So what did I want to create? Again, something very simplistic, something very duplicatable, show and tell. And now people are holding their phone in their hand. So you're giving them a sense of control. You've captured their attention. And now you're taking them down your journey. And if they're a prospect, and you're helping them connect the dots so they want what you have. And how do the conversations start? From a place of good intention on your part by saying hello. And again, I don't know if I told you about this client, Westlake Royal Building Products. I was servicing a Lightspeed client. He called me in to come and train his salespeople on how to sell more of their online training. I went down there, helped his team. I'm walking down the hallway to go use the restroom. A guy says, that's a nice jacket. I'm like, thank you, man. My name's Charlie. What's your name? He said, Paul. He said, do you have a card? I tapped his phone. Now, it wasn't one tap. I tapped his phone with my other business, right? I have one for Lightspeed. I have one for Charlie Cina. He goes, where'd you get this app? I said, I know the owner of the company. He said, we want it. Show him. I tapped the other guy's phone. The guy goes, yup, we want 3. If I like it, we'll take 300. I'm like, you didn't ask me how much. He goes, I don't care. If I like it, we'll take 300. Well, it was the vice president of sales and his national director. So we ended up selling like a $50,000 deal. How? I was walking down the hall. He said, nice jacket. I said, thank you. Stuck out my hand and said, what's your name? He said, Paul. Do you have a card? What happened? We were just being nice to each other. We started a conversation. Next thing you know, the guy's one of my dearest friends now. Was just over my house for dinner last month. And he's brought me more deals and more relationships than I can shake a stick at. So it's not complicated. Again, good intention, and be the person that sticks out the hand first. Someone told me a long time ago, he who makes the phone call is in control. He who sticks out the hand first, in my opinion, comes from a place of good intention. You're making that other person feel significant, and it says a lot about your character.
Charlie, what a blessing today's been. If you're listening to this episode, go check out season 15, episode 176. Very different conversation. Where can people get connected with you to get involved in OneTap?
OneTapConnect.com, all spelled out, OneTapConnect.com. And you can also hit me up at my name, Charlie Cina, Cina.
Thank you all for listening to the Culture Matters podcast. Go check out that website. Please leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast, and we will see you next time. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you.